Ferguson, Director of the MRC Centre for Global Infectious Disease Analysis at Imperial College London, also a member of the government's SPIEM modelling group and regularly on the programme. Good morning.
Good morning.
Give us your assessment of what you think is happening in different European countries, these rising infection levels.
So it's a complex picture, but France, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, that kind of group of countries are seeing increasing infection levels, and that's mostly driven by the UK variant, which arose in Kent last year, and they're seeing the same problems that we saw before Christmas. Of perhaps more concern for the UK, though, is that some countries, France notably, are seeing a significant fraction, 5 to 10% of their cases are the South African variant at the moment. And so when infection levels go up in France to, as you say, 30,000 cases a day, that implies that there's at least 1,500, 2,000 cases a day of the South African variant there. And that is the variant we really do want to keep out of the UK.
Is that because of its possible resistance to vaccines?
Indeed. I mean, and we won't be able to keep it out forever, ever, I should say. But the longer we can keep it out, the longer we can keep it at least at low levels in the UK, the more time we have to vaccinate the whole adult population and to update vaccines to be able to cope with that new variant. So I think it's an important issue right now.
So how would it be possible, do you think, to keep the South African variant at bay?
As I say, we can never completely keep it at bay, but I think there are important decisions coming up, and it's always a balancing act for the government to how much we relax, I mean, frankly, the current ban on international travel except for essential purposes, and then how there's a lot of essential travel between ourselves and France for business, commerce, trade. How can we reduce the risks associated with that travel? Maybe introducing testing of people coming into the country, those sort of things. Those are policy decisions. I'm just raising the issue that we're doing so well with the vaccination campaign. We're driving down deaths, at a faster rate than I ever thought was possible, and that will allow us to open up. But opening up poses risks. Poses risks particularly if there are variants around which can partially escape the vaccine.
And so do you think there could even be a case for putting France on the red list?
I don't think that's necessarily a practical issue given the amount of trade and commerce which goes on. I think we need a more bespoke agreement which just tries to mitigate that risk, perhaps to a higher degree than we have now. And that risk will increase over time. As we relax measures in this country, which we all hope we can do, then there becomes more opportunity for these strains which are at low levels, even in the country right now, to grow and cause a problem.
They're talking of a third wave in France. Do you think that is the right way of looking at it?
Yes. I mean, I should reiterate, that's really driven but mostly by the variant we already have, the kind of Kent variant as it's called. I think they are in some sense in the same position we were in back last November in terms of December in terms of growing case numbers, but they have reasonable amount of social distancing in place and they're rolling out vaccine, albeit more slowly than we have been able to do. But so I think in most of those European countries, they won't see the same sort of huge peak we saw in January of this year, but they nevertheless are in a difficult situation right now.
What's your assessment of what's likely to be happening in this country, particularly taking into account a delay in vaccine supply?
So I don't think the delay will have an enormous effect. It's slightly disappointing, but we will still have enough vaccine to largely continue with the programme. As I say, overall, I'm optimistic with this one caveat that we do need to keep these variants of concern, as they're called, at bay until we can update the vaccine, until we've rolled out the vaccine in really, hopefully, the whole adult population, which will be the summer time. At that point, we'll be in a much safer position. Right now, it's looking good, but there are some risks.
Professor Neil Ferguson, thank you for talking to us.
22 minutes to 8 now. Let's have a look at today's